Welcome to the Crimson Reaper Storytelling Podcast. Today I'll be reading 3 Forest Horror Story. Story 1. The Whispering Grove. Deep within the heart of a sprawling forest stood the Whispering Grove, a place shrouded in mystery and fear. Local legends spoke of a presence that dwelled among the ancient trees, a spirit that whispered secrets to those who dared venture too close. One summer evening, a group of adventurous friends gathered around a crackling campfire at the edge of the forest. They laughed and shared stories, dismissing the warnings of locals who spoke of the grove's haunted reputation. As darkness settled in and the flames dwindled, the forest around them grew eerily silent, unnaturally devoid of its usual nocturnal symphony. Suddenly, a faint whisper floated through the stillness, barely audible yet unmistakably present. The friends exchanged uneasy glances, their playful banter replaced by a tense silence. The whisper persisted, growing clearer and more distinct with each passing moment, as if someone, or something, was trying to communicate with them. Shadows danced at the periphery of their campfire's flickering light, and a chill wind rustled the leaves overhead. Then, a figure emerged from the darkness, a woman in a tattered gown, her pale face illuminated by the dying embers of the fire. Her eyes bored into their souls, filled with an otherworldly sorrow that sent shivers down their spines. With a voice that trembled like wind through autumn leaves, she spoke of a tragedy long buried beneath the roots of the Whispering Grove. Centuries ago, she was a young maiden who fell in love with a forbidden suitor, their romance defying the norms of their time. When their secret was discovered, tragedy struck, the lovers were separated, and the maiden met a tragic end among the gnarled trees of the grove. Since that fateful night, her spirit remained bound to the grove, condemned to wander in search of peace and resolution. Her whispered words carried the weight of centuries of sorrow, compelling the friends to listen, transfixed and terrified. As dawn broke and the spectral figure faded back into the shadows, the friends fled the grove, their hearts racing with a mixture of fear and disbelief. They swore never to speak of the encounter again, but the haunting whispers of the maiden lingered in their minds long after they returned to the safety of civilization. To this day, locals warn against venturing into the Whispering Grove after dark, where the spirits of the past continue to whisper their tales to those brave enough, or foolish enough, to listen. Story 2. The Watcher in the Woods. In the depths of a remote forest, there existed a chilling legend known only as the Watcher. According to local lore, the Watcher was a guardian spirit, silent and unseen, who kept a vigilant watch over the ancient trees and winding paths of the wilderness. One summer night, Mark, an adventurous hiker with a fascination for the supernatural, ventured alone into the heart of the forest. Armed with only a flashlight and a sense of curiosity, he followed the overgrown trail deeper into the shadows cast by towering trees. The air was thick with humidity, and the chorus of nocturnal creatures echoed through the darkness. As twilight faded and the moon rose high above the canopy, Mark felt a sense of unease settle upon him. He dismissed it as nerves, attributing the eerie atmosphere to the stories he had heard about the Watcher. Yet, with each step deeper into the forest, the feeling of being watched intensified, prickling at the back of his neck like unseen eyes boring into his soul. Suddenly, a rustling sound echoed through the underbrush, followed by a soft whisper carried on the evening breeze. Mark froze in his tracks, his breath catching in his throat as he scanned the shadows for any sign of movement. That's when he saw it, a figure draped in moss and leaves, standing motionless among the trees with eyes that glowed faintly in the darkness. The Watcher's presence was palpable, its form blending seamlessly with the natural surroundings as if it were a part of the ancient forest itself. Fear gripped Mark's heart as he realized he had stumbled upon something beyond his comprehension, a guardian spirit whose intentions remained unknown and enigmatic. For what felt like an eternity, Mark stood rooted to the spot, locked in a silent standoff with the Watcher. Time seemed to stretch infinitely until a distant howl of a wolf shattered the eerie stillness, breaking the spell that held him captive. With adrenaline coursing through his veins, Mark turned on his heels and fled, his footsteps echoing loudly against the forest floor. Branches clawed at his clothes, and roots threatened to trip him in his frantic escape, but he dared not look back, fearing what he might see lurking in the shadows behind him. Hours later, exhausted and trembling, Mark stumbled out of the forest, his mind reeling with disbelief at the encounter he had just survived. He vowed never to return to those woods, haunted by the memory of the Watcher and the silent sentinel's unnerving gaze that continued to linger in his nightmares. Story 3. The Lost Children. In a secluded corner of the countryside, nestled deep within a labyrinthine forest, there existed a haunting tale known as the legend of the Lost Children. Generations of locals whispered about the mysterious disappearance of a group of children who vanished without a trace while playing near an ancient oak tree. According to the legend, the children's disappearance remained an unsolved mystery, their fate forever intertwined with the dense foliage and winding paths of the forest. Some claimed they had heard faint cries echoing through the trees on stormy nights, as if the lost souls of the children still roamed the woods in search of salvation. One storm-laden evening, a family of avid campers decided to explore the outskirts of the forest, drawn by the allure of its untamed beauty and the promise of adventure. Ignoring the warnings of superstitious locals, they pitched their tent near the edge of the ancient oak grove, unaware of the dark history that lurked beneath its verdant canopy. As the sun dipped below the horizon and ominous clouds gathered overhead, the forest seemed to come alive with an unsettling energy. The air grew thick with anticipation, and the distant rumble of thunder heralded the approaching storm. Undeterred by the brewing tempest, the family huddled around a crackling campfire, sharing stories and laughter beneath the flickering glow of the flames. However, as the hours passed and darkness descended upon the forest, a sense of unease settled over the campsite like a suffocating shroud. The wind whispered through the trees in mournful sighs, and the rustling leaves seemed to speak in hushed tones of forgotten tragedies and restless spirits. Suddenly, amidst the rising crescendo of the storm, the family heard a faint sound, a child's cry carried on the wind, haunting and desperate. Instinctively, they followed the mournful wail, their flashlight beams cutting through the oppressive darkness as they navigated the treacherous terrain. Their search led them deeper into the heart of the forest, where they stumbled upon an abandoned cabin hidden amidst the gnarled roots and twisted underbrush. The structure stood weathered and dilapidated, its wooden walls groaning in protest against the relentless onslaught of time. Inside the cabin, they discovered remnants of a forgotten childhood, a collection of weathered toys scattered across the dirt-covered floor, frozen in time as if waiting for the young owners to return. The air inside the cabin was thick with an inexplicable sadness, and a chill settled over the family as they realized the gravity of the discovery. As the storm raged outside, casting eerie shadows that danced along the cabin walls, the family felt an unseen presence watching them, a silent specter that bore witness to the tragedy that had unfolded within those secluded walls. Haunted by the chilling realization that they had stumbled upon the resting place of the lost children, the family hastily retreated from the cabin, their hearts heavy with sorrow and disbelief. The memory of that fateful night would forever haunt the dreams, a poignant reminder of the forest's secrets and the souls that wandered eternally among the trees. To this day, the legend of the lost children continues to echo through the dense foliage and winding paths of the forest, a cautionary tale whispered by those who dare to venture into its ancient depths. Art made by Artbreeder. Story generated by ChatGPT.